Sup, guys? Welcome to chapter 10. So, everything we've learned the last few weeks, the cost chapter, the perfect competition chapter, the monopoly chapter, those were all pretty similar to stuff we saw in principles. More math, okay, and maybe some more extra stuff, right? More talk of elasticity or inefficiency, but pretty similar stuff. Now we're gonna break it pretty hard. Um, it's gonna feel like I'm abandoning the all-powerful marginal revenue equals marginal cost rule. I'm not. I'm just no longer gonna be trying to model marginal revenue because we're about to make it much more complicated, and I don't want to deal with the math of it. Okay. So, what's happening in this chapter? Well, so far we've assumed that the monopolist can only choose one price, and that's the price they sell to everybody. But that's not always true. Okay, let me give you some examples. Talk about a movie theater where they give old people discounts, or people give military discounts, or student discounts, or when you go to school. One of my favorites is to talk about tuition. Most of you guys watching this video are paying very different prices for your TLU education. You qualify for different amounts of financial aid based on what you did in your FAFSA and based on your academic past. Some of you are paying a ton to be here, and some of you are only paying a little bit to be here. So you're paying different amounts for the same good. What are discounts to people who buy stuff early or who buy stuff late, or discounts to people who buy a ton of stuff, or I don't know, there's a ton. Why do businesses sell products in bundles where you have to buy multiple instead of buying them one at a time? There's a whole bunch of stuff that breaks the simple marginal revenue equal marginal cost based on the demand curve and a single price. The real world is far more complicated than Chapter 9 would have us believe. It's still a good starting point to talk about setting a good price. But in this chapter, we learn a whole lot more pricing strategy. And this chapter is not an easy one, but students are usually pretty interested in it because you'll be able to think of examples for all of this stuff that you've seen in your life. So let me dig into it just a little bit on like the overview-y kind of level. That's what these mini lectures are for anyway. You'll get the technical videos in it after this. What's the point? Well, the point is the business has market power, and under certain conditions, they might be able to make more money than the standard monopoly output, or sorry, than the standard monopoly result. Okay, there are conditions. They have to be able to prevent us from reselling goods to each other, so the people who buy stuff cheap can't sell it expensive to their neighbors. They have to be able to prevent that. That's called arbitrage. We've got to prevent arbitrage. And they have to be able somehow to make some sort of either observation or guess about what your demand curve looks like. If they have that kind of stuff, then they can charge us all different prices. And people who are more elastic will pay less. And people who are less elastic will pay more. And the result will be less consumer surplus, more producer surplus. Don't forget, surplus is measured in dollars. And so they want to get all those dollars from you. The extreme situation you draw is perfect price discrimination. And in that case, they will manage to extract every single dollar of consumer surplus, and it all becomes producer surplus. In all the other examples, it's not quite that extreme. But the goal is always that. Get those dollars of consumer surplus and get them into the business. And all of these pricing strategies are ways of doing that. You see, if they can lower the price for more elastic customers, they'll get more profit out of the elastic side of their market. If they can raise the price for inelastic consumers, they can also raise the profit for that side of the market. That split, if they can make it, can raise profit all around. And where does that profit come from? Yours and my pockets. It's very interesting stuff. It's very real stuff. It's pretty interesting. So you'll want to know about it. A lot of you are going into business. You want to know kind of what some of your options are, sort of thinking outside of the usual econ box. This is pretty usual, but it's not usual for what we've learned so far. We're just going to scratch the surface on this stuff. You can actually get really complicated about this. One of my former students recently messaged me to say that she got a pricing analyst certification. She studied for like a year. I don't know. The messages were a year apart. Maybe she had it before that. I don't know. She studied for a while to get this big pricing analyst thing to help businesses with their pricing strategies. Me, in my data science job, I am working on a model that predicts prices and estimates elasticities to help the business that I work for, to choose the right kind of prices to make their sales. This is real stuff. It happens. And so I hope you pay attention because it's pretty interesting. That's about all I got though. Enjoy your technical videos. Enjoy your learning this week. It's going to be fun. Peace out.